After reading and analyzing the question, we want to design an algorithm to solve the searching part. To design, we normally have two parts to do. Firstly, we work on a paper. We write some pseudocode to design the algorithm. Secondly, we work on a computer. We translate our pseudocode to several blocks of comments. All of this work will need to be done before we start coding. And here is how I do it. Okay, so let's have a look at how do we design the algorithm to solve the searching part. And here I'll write down my solution 1, and I use a for loop to solve my problem. First of all, I draw everything by hand, so I solve the problem by hand. I have the vector, I have the element that I want to search. And how do we search one element in a vector? Simply, we go through every element in the vector. Every time we pick one element in the current vector, we compare it with the x. We see whether they are the same or not. And in this first step, I can see 1 does not equal to 20. So I haven't found my element in the vector yet. And then I move to the second element in the vector. I do comparison again. They do not match. I still cannot find my element in the vector. Then I move to the third element. I continue comparing, so on and so forth. We compare every element in the vector with our element x, and until the end. And they still do not match. And then I can check there is no matching that's found. So as a result, I'll print the message not found. However, if my x is value 5, I can do the comparison again. Compare each element in the vector with my current x. The first one in the vector is 1. It does not equal to value 5. The second one is 5, and they match. So here in this second example, I will need to print the index of the element in the vector, and the index of that 5 is 2. So number 2 will be displayed on the command window. So this is how I solve the problem by hand. Then I will need to translate this work to an algorithm which can be implemented by using MATLAB. So this is how I do it. So I use a for loop to solve the problem. When I'm using the for loop, I want to check every element in the vector. To go through each element I will need to use the indices. So I define the index I, which go through all the indices in the vector V. In MATLAB, the indices start from 1 and end at the length of the vector. And in each iteration, I want to do the following. I take the current element from the vector using indexing, and I want to check whether the current element is matching the element we are searching for. So we compare the value stored in the variable x and the variable current element. So in this case, there will be two conditions. First of all, we have found our element. Secondly, that deals with the situation that we cannot find the element. If we have found the element, we just simply store the index I somewhere else, because later we will need to print that index. And if we cannot find the index in the current step, we will need to keep checking the other elements in the vector. After looking for the element x in the vector, we will enter another step. Now we want to see whether I have found the element in the vector. So if I have found the element x in the vector V, I will want to display the index, and that index comes from this step. I can create another variable called index, and I save the current I to it. And finally, I can print the index. If I cannot find the index, I will need to print a message which is not found. So here I design my algorithm like this. Notice that this is not a real pseudocode. If you want to learn how to write a pseudocode, please check it out from the internet. Here we only draw something that can help us to think. When we have our algorithm, we will want to start commenting in MATLAB. And here is how we do it.